Deathloop has the internet divided. The oracles of gaming IGN say Deathloop is a game like no other. 10 out of 10. But then Slub Farm says Death Poop. Both fascinating takes, but who's right? Well, just like its reception, Deathloop is an odd game. On one hand, you can use unique abilities to pull off slick kills, and then on the other, I can't shoot my fucking gun. Come on, now's the chance. Just shoot the gun. You play as Colt Vahn, waking up with no recollection of what happened or where you are. Whew. Thank fuck that anthem thing was just a nightmare. You'll soon find out you're stuck in a loop. You could even say, a death loop. That was funny, laugh. To break the loop, you've got to kill the 8 visionaries in one loop, which shouldn't be too hard considering I've killed about 400 raccoon men. So it's another roguelike, where you travel to 4 different locations throughout the day, learning about the areas, inhabitants, coming up with plans, and building an arsenal, all to help you kill the 8 visionaries. All the locations change depending on the time of the day, with different opportunities, so you've got to learn the area as well as the activities happening in the specific times. Like this guy, getting better at guitar through the day. That's really cool. Too bad he didn't put that time into not getting kicked off a cliff. Idiot. Deathloop starts off slow, but builds up to be a pretty decent experience with solid gunplay, fun abilities, and most importantly, one of the sexiest reload animations I've ever seen. All the equipment in this game is just so much fun. The guns have a lot of punch, and they're really satisfying to use. All of them have unique roles with no weapon that does it all. Well, apart from your trusty knife. Swift, deadly... Fuck, yeah, I take that back. Your guns also come with bonuses and can even be modded with stuff you get through the game, allowing you to adjust the weapons to suit your playstyle. I've got this adorable killing machine with the ability of healing me through damaging enemies, which became an essential part of my aggressive playstyle. I'd slap recoil and fire rate mods on this beefy boy, use this beauty for long range engagements, my pink mini Dracula for healing, and I'd pop on the Havoc ability, and boom, I'm a straight up juggernaut from MW2. This is what I love about Deathloop, combining resources you gather to create unique playstyles and come up with strategies around the fun utilities the game gives you. That's so much fun. There's this cool opportunity where you can lure the visionary out of this furry convention by playing a banger of a tune. I tried for about 5 minutes, got bored, so I just decided to kill everyone. It was a success. There's just so much freedom to how you want to play, and I absolutely love that. The abilities are really fun, adding to that element of crafting your own playstyle, plus they can be modded to give abilities even more utility. And if we look at it objectively, you can turn your hand into a fucking yeet device, and I'm pretty sure that's the definition of perfect. Although I wish the shift ability was standard because of how vital it is. Not having it makes you constantly feel like you're playing at a disadvantage. It makes it awkward to traverse the locations, which seem like they've been designed around it. Having that extra slot for another fun ability would have opened up a lot more options and made the combat even more enjoyable. I swear, the times I've not ran it, I felt like I sent my legs off to Algeria and decided to crawl everywhere. I mean, what do you want me to do? But it's not all great. Firstly, on console there's a ridiculously low amount of options, including no FOV slider or a way to adjust motion blur. Mate, it's 2021, even my toaster has an FOV slider. Also, the controller sensitivity just feels off. This is max sensitivity. Didn't realise I was operating an M2 Abrams tank. You just can't snap onto targets and it makes the game feel pretty sluggish, forcing you to lean on the extremely strong aim assist. Mate, you're not going to give us whiplash by letting us have a higher and more responsive sensitivity. But I think the biggest drawback to the gameplay is the lackluster AI. They're dumb and incredibly inconsistent. For one, there's times where they're completely oblivious to you, and then the next, alright, you can see me through walls. Fucking hell, mate, did you go to Specsavers? The best approach to most encounters is to let them aggro onto you, back off, and watch them all funnel down a corridor and light them up. The challenge mainly comes through the lack of health regeneration and the number of enemies, which can lead to fights being uninteresting if you don't engage with the fun aspects of your kit. You can start a fight and you know how it's gonna go, which kills any tension of sneaking around and leading to you just bolting past enemies. Deathloop makes a massive improvement on gunplay, but Arkane's last game, Prey, done a much better job at adding tension to stealth, creating interesting combat puzzles, and using effective enemy variety to keep encounters interesting. Don't get me wrong, using your kit in creative ways to kill enemies is really fun, but just a bit more dynamic AI and some enemy variety would have went a long way to making the combat a little less repetitive and one-sided. There's another aspect. Invasions, I mean Juliana. These are similar to the Souls games where an online player takes control of Juliana and is tasked with using the environment and their kit to take you on. This really shakes up the game, but it can be hit and miss as it is entirely dependent on the playstyle and ability of the online player. These invasions instantly get the blood pumping and adds the much needed tension, with that looming thought of someone everyone watching and plotting to kill you, with all your progress on the line. These are always a chess game between the players, trying to bait out and trying to get each other to play into their limited kit, and pulling off these kills can be incredibly satisfying, but is exhausting and sometimes frustrating. My main issue with this is the invasions can happen 2 times a run, which can really mess with the flow of the game and adds a massive unpredictable factor. Having to repeat tedious tasks just because the second time you got raided it was by Winston Churchill using a bunny hop script. That's quite frustrating. Yes, you can play offline, but it's the mind games with an online player that make these encounters special. Like this one invasion, started off with me killing myself, as you do. Then they proceeded to maul me, leaving me with 1 life. So I had to pull out all the stops, because I wasn't dying again. So I had a new approach. Hide, get their attention, and wait. Okay, I'm not proud of this one. I love these invasions, but there definitely needs to be a better middle ground between finding the AI that employs advanced tactics, such as standing still.
I love that trick!
To fighting the fucking Looney Tune assassins. So you can also play as Juliana, or more likely wait as Juliana, because if you want to be the invader, you're going to be waiting a while. Playing as her is fun though. You're always playing at a disadvantage, especially at the start, so you've got to be smart and use the limited kit to the best of your ability. There's also a separate progression system for this mode, where you can level up doing challenges and earn better gear, which is cool, but it's just too long a wait for something that can be over way too quickly, which is a shame. Always an interesting aspect of roguelikes is how they handle progression. I know, I've already talked about Juliana's progression, shut up. When it comes to Colt, after every cycle you lose everything, but through these runs you collect residuum, which can be used to ensure pieces of gear, making it impossible to lose. So at the end of your runs you gotta decide what gear you want to keep, because you won't be able to save it all. I really like the way this is done, is when you're doing runs you always feel like you're adding to your kit, even whilst focusing on other tasks. And because of how this is level based, unlike some other roguelikes, this game is perfect just to pick up and play and drop whenever you need to go, and you feel like you're actually making progress, which is great. The level design is solid, with each map being multi-layered, having a ton of paths and secrets to discover, and the changing of times does a good job at making the areas feel a little less repetitive, even if the changes are nothing major. You're constantly finding new locations and secrets every time you revisit the areas. They're fun to explore, and each map feels distinct visually and mechanically. The whole goal of killing the visionaries in one loop is quite underwhelming though. As soon as you hear the premise you think, class, I'm gonna have to get clues, experiment, and work out a way to pull off this seemingly impossible task. Oh, what's that? You're just gonna give me a to-do list? Oh, okay. That's cool, I guess. It's something I'd say if I was a lunatic. It gets the job done, sure. But it's underwhelming that tasks feel more like a somewhat tedious checklist, rather than a fun puzzle that you have to work out with multiple possible solutions. Making systems for that would be incredibly hard, but come on man, a man can dream. Story wise, I like it. I love the 2 main characters, which are just a joy to listen to. The voice acting is genuinely incredible, backed up with pretty solid writing. It's a constantly evolving story as you discover more about the world and your relationship with Juliana, which is done surprisingly really well for how the majority of this is just told through dialogue and Colt waving his hands in the air. And the ending is painfully unsatisfying. There was a part I did like, but that didn't stop me needing to watch about 1 hour of satisfying videos. On the visual side, absolutely love the style. Everything looks absolutely tasty with its own unique flair. The 60s future look is absolutely class, with an incredible use of colour. Everything from the UI to the environments, again, they look class. Just look at the box! It's that fucking good! They give me another box! Now I can keep FIFA safe. Also, I've no idea if I like or hate the fact that I'm killing a civilization of people who accidentally spilled paint over them. On the one hand, it's a unique style that makes murdering them a little less morally questionable, but on the other, it kinda just adds to the meh feeling of killing them. They're coated in paint. Their lives are already bad enough. Music wise, it's really good. It suits the style of the game incredibly well, with absolutely class beats, perfect for getting you amped during combat. The quality of some songs in this is insane. There's genuinely not a bad track, it's all class. My only gripe is I found them a bit repetitive, and it felt like I was hearing the same tune constantly. Almost like I was in a loop.
Shut it!
Personally, I played on the PS5, I had quite a few bugs through my playthrough, mainly just my gun, you know, just not fucking working! But other than that, it was a fairly smooth experience, it ran well, and I don't recall any major issues. So with that said, Deathloop is good, but it could have been done so much better, especially after setting that bar so high with Prey. But there's still so much style to love, fun to be had with the combat, and a ton of creative enjoyable ways to kill those painted Nuketown bots. To conclude, it was decent. Wait a minute. Is that a Doom reference? Mate, it's fucking perfect! But it's time to answer the important question. Where does it sit on the greatest yearly ranking system of all time? Wait, sorry, what I meant to say is the greatest ranking system. Yes, the tier list with every game from the Scottish Opinion is back, because let's be honest, this is more exciting than a yearly one with 6 games on it. For those out of the know, after every review I plug the game into this beautiful tier list, based on how much fun and how good I think a game is, according to advanced technologies such as my gut feeling. And to be clear, this ain't none of your IGN shite. Games in it's decent, believe it or not, are decent games, and the games below can be good with shortcomings. Remember, this is a tier list of all time, and comparative to the games on the list, Valheim's fun, but is it Doom Eternal? That's what I'm trying to get at. So with the boring shite out of the way, where does Deathloop sit on the most prestigious ranking system of all time? Well, it's gotta be a solid, it's decent.